So, Jamil, what was it like actually raising your son among the Black community?
Very good question. Very good question. I think more so one of to unpack it. One of my main goals is to speak to the Black and Brown communities about autism and really get people who look just like me, who talk just like me, to really be able to be comfortable when diagnosing their children and stepping up and advocating, such as myself. Which don't get me wrong, there are plenty of people who are actually doing it, and I applaud you. Thank you for doing the trailblazing work for individuals such as myself. But we have a long way to go. Um, I'm scared right now. I'm scared for my son in this world where we are really segregating, and this has been happening, but he's growing up now. We're segregating people by their skin color instead of where they're from ethnically. And I think it's called ethnic experience more than race. I think people need to really just open up about different parts of the world where people are from and understand that we're all equal. Shane is not oblivious to what's going on. Unfortunately, he does see the news. He does acknowledge things that are going on in the world, and he asks me questions. He's like, "Oh no, Daddy, people are getting hurt," and you try to unpack what it is for someone to inflict pain or someone to hurt someone maliciously to a 12-year-old. There's not a Dr. Seuss rhyme out there that can help you.
Mm.
There's not a Sesame Street episode that can actually assist with this. But what I do tell him is that he always needs to treat everyone with respect. He needs to say hello when someone looks him in his eye and say hello to him. He needs to say, "How are you? Thank you. Please, may I? Excuse me." These are the small steps that I'm teaching him. I'm teaching him that people can be cruel, but we have to understand the reasoning why. There's a reason behind why they're so angry inside. And I think we need to try to find out what that is and combat that with love, with kindness. And I'm teaching my son more and more to be that kind person, but also too to kind of watch his back. There are going to be people that are going to take advantage of him because of his skin color, because of his condition. Um, but more importantly, I want Shane to just be proud of who he is. He's a mixed child of African American, Puerto Rican, and I want him to embrace his culture in both sides, and both people, and all people. So that question is a never-ending question.
Hmm.
Come back 30 years when I'm very old, and hopefully he'll take care of me very well, and we can see what the end result is. Is because this is until we listen as adults, us as adults who are over our next generation, until we actually listen, get the information we need from each other, and start speaking it into our families, into our children. It's going to be a long book. It's going to be a long read for someone to read way up in the future. They're going to be taking out textbooks about this. Um, but I'm scared. I'm really scared for my son right now in these times. And I never thought as a parent, as a black man, um, I will actually say that. I'm now it's up there where, oh, I don't know if someone will love my son as much as I do when I'm going from this planet. It's literally neck and neck right now. Oh my God, my son is of a different ethnic background. Is he going to be murdered? Is he going to be uplifted? Is he going to be not given the opportunities as another class is given? I mean, it's something that we need to really come to some type of resolution and fast.
Right, because the statistics are against him. I mean, not just because he's Black, but also because he's autistic.
Exactly.
So the chances of him being approached by law enforcement are even higher than someone without either of those two identities.
Exactly, and it's crazy that you mentioned this, and we need to talk about this. Once again, this is the listening part. Is that law enforcement? I want officers to understand. You're coming from. This is coming from a person that's been in law enforcement. We appreciate what you do. You are placing your life on the line for others every single day. What I think the disconnect with the autism community, what they need to understand is that there is a different approach when it comes to our children that are on the spectrum. The teaching comes not only from a law enforcement perspective, but also it comes from the parents. So we have a due diligence to really speak to the law enforcement. We can't hold dear to disagreements, personal feelings that we have, because we fell into the stigma that law enforcement doesn't care about black and brown people. You understand? Like we have to really teach our children. Okay, when the officer approaches you, keep your hands where they can see them, state your name, and state, hey, I am on the autism spectrum. What would you like for me to do? By you acknowledging that, and with cameras that are on officers these days, you have acknowledged that you don't quite understand what they may be giving as far as commands. Also, too, that lights and sirens are very sensitive to them, so that officer has a due diligence to say, okay, you know what? Go back to the car, cut the lights off. Maybe call in for support if he or she feels as though they can't really handle the situation at hand. So it's we got a lot of unpacking to do all across the board. It's not just a racial thing. It's just policies and procedures. It's a lot of things when it comes to our awesome children and really everyone.
You've been watching Autism Knows No Borders. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Also, we'd love to hear from you, so let us know what you think in the comments section. Click here to watch this interview in its entirety. You can also find us on your favorite podcast app. Tune in each week for engaging conversations of how people across the globe are inspiring change and building community. Thanks for watching. Take care.